Good morning at 3:33 a.m. I can't believe it. And I've been awake since 20 after 12. I went to bed to try to get a good night's sleep. Probably about 9:30 to 10 o'clock. And I haven't been back to sleep since I woke up, although I did stay in bed for more than an hour trying to fall back to sleep. Anyway, I chuckle because no matter what I do, I can't seem to sleep. I mean, when I get more than 4 hours consecutive, I consider it a major miracle. It just doesn't seem to go any better than that. If I get 5, it's like it's like I'm in a different world. And I chuckle at myself, but I did have a good meditation this morning. And I'm really in a very upbeat frame of mind. Although the thing that challenges me probably more than any other as a philosophy of life or as a way of seeing life, the perspective, viewpoint, whatever you want to call it, is this battle between the Eastern and the Western mind. And I'm titling today's talk, Ninth Wave, Either or, Both and More. And I ask the question, what is polarization? It's not the same as duality, at least not to me. Generally, the Western mind thinks in terms of either or, whereas the Eastern mind thinks more in terms of both and. What are the implications of these two ways of seeing the world? The Western mindset, as I said, is the either-or mindset. That's the polarized mindset. That's the war mindset. When you see from that mindset, you can't conceive of unity. I mean, you simply cannot conceive of it. It's a battle between light and dark, good and evil, God and the devil. It's a continual battle. And that's all you can see. You can't see anything else when you're looking at the either or mindset. It's either going to be you or me. One of us has to die. We can't both live because it's either or. Either you win or I win. There's no such thing as a win-win situation. If I win, you lose, and vice versa. When spiritual people talk about moving out of duality, I contend that that's what they mean. You've got to move out of that Western mindset thinking of either or, because it is a war-like mindset. It is a filter that creates conflict. Automatically, it's conflict. It's competition. It's a battle going on continuously. The ego, or at least the Western ego, sees from that perspective, which is why the ego is labeled bad or whatever. The ego isn't bad. It just has a faulty way of seeing the world. Its filter is messed up. It's looking through glasses that polarize everything, that split everything in part. Or apart. Now, we do appear to be separate. But that's only an appearance. We're not really separate. We're interconnected. We all breathe the same air. The air that I'm breathing right now has been breathed by every other person that's ever lived on this planet. The air that I breathe in has been in everyone else's lungs and exhaled from everybody else's lungs. It's the same air that's been around for a long, 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 long time. Far back as you want to go. As far forward as you want to go. We're connected, folks. We're connected by life itself and all of the elements and energies of life itself. Now, the Eastern mindset, whereas it's not perfectly this way, it thinks more in terms of both and. That's why in Taoism you have the yin-yang symbol. They're part of the same thing. There's the light on this side or whatever with a little bit of darkness in it, and there's the dark on this side with a little bit of light in it. They recognize that life is holographic, that the masculine is contained within the feminine and vice versa. Whereas I can look at my body and say, I'm a man, so I'm not a woman. But energetically, I look at myself and I say, I have masculine tendencies and I have feminine tendencies. Which is correct? The either or is always incorrect if we want to establish peace and harmony on the planet. If we want to establish peace and harmony in our individual lives. If you look at it as a continuous competition, you're going to lose. Because you cannot win if you're always fighting against something. And people have challenged me in regard to the Supreme Court ruling, my take on the Supreme Court ruling, that this was a good thing. They say, well, you can't, these people are evil. The Supreme Court people, they're evil. The Illuminati, the elite establishment, it's all evil. It can't possibly do good. The only way we're going to fix the world is to destroy the people that are in charge of the world or have been running the world, the elite. Well, that's a viewpoint. Is it a correct viewpoint? If you're going to destroy them, you're still thinking in terms of either or, and you're going to create the exact same thing from that perspective, even if you were to have the ability to eliminate everyone that is considered evil, everyone that is considered responsible for the way the world is today. If we were to destroy all of those people and wipe them out from the face of the earth, and we were to still hang on or to deify the either-or mentality, you would create the same kind of world over again that you had before. Because the problem isn't the bad people. The problem is the mentality or the viewpoint from which we're perceiving the world. Both and is a place of love. It's a divine perspective. It's a whole perspective. It's cooperation instead of competition. It's life instead of death. It's peace and harmony instead of war and conflict. What kind of world do you want to have? What kind of life do you want to have? Then you need to take a close examination and look at yourself under a microscope as far as how are you defining how you see. How are you seeing? How are you perceiving? What words are you using to define? If you're saying, I am this and not that, that's the either-or mentality. You can't have a peaceful life if you're looking at it from that perspective. Yet that is the death perspective of the ego. Now the ego can choose a different perspective and align with a more holistic point of view. Instead of either-or, both and. But even both and is inadequate. I am masculine and feminine. But I am more than just masculine and feminine. I am divine, which includes every possibility. Every possibility. And it is love, and it allows every possibility. Are you understanding what I'm saying. This is so essential in this ninth wave to grasp this concept, because this is the central core, I contend, the central core of everything that we have created and everything that we will create. This is the central core. Now, you may say to me, but Ron, the Bible says, or Ron, the Koran says, or Ron, the Bhagavad Gita says, or Ron, this holy book, or this great teacher says, or this scientist says. If it's an either-or concept that they're putting forth, it does not produce life, it produces death. Period. Period. If you're thinking with a conflicted mind and seeing through a conflicted, polarized set of glasses, you can't achieve harmony. It just won't work. It just won't work. And I know how easy it is to see from that perspective. I've seen from that perspective most of my life. I was raised in that perspective. And so I've had to take a deeper look. I've had to think more deeply. I've had to go through my initiation of being challenged by circumstances, and to rise above the circumstances by seeing the good in what I didn't like. I've had to go through it, folks. I'm not talking about something that's just an ideology, just a philosophy. I'm talking about something that I've experienced with my life, in my life. And I've had a gut-wrenching experience of wrestling with the ideas that I'm sharing with you. And I'm absolutely, I know, I don't just believe, I know that the both and mentality is the mentality of love. It's God's mentality. It has to be. Any other mentality will produce chaos. Any other mentality will do that. It has to be the way we're going. Are we willing to evolve beyond the either or to the both and actually put it in practice? Now, the Eastern people that have this both and mentality oftentimes tend to stay, they don't advance very well. So the either or has produced some positive effects in that it has spurred people on to look for something better rather than to be complacent. So there is something good that has been produced with the either or Western mentality. It's been a very creative mentality, if you will, because rather than just settling. The Eastern mind, people have tended in the past to simply settle. And this is my lot, and I accept it. Whereas the Western mentality is, this isn't my lot, I'm not satisfied with this lot, I'm going to improve it. So there has to be a balance, yet we have to understand the foundational philosophy of how we see the world. And we need to be willing to shift our philosophy so that it serves everyone and creates a win-win situation. Otherwise we're going to be right back where we've always been. And that's not where we're headed, folks. So I hope my rambling has made some sense to somebody. And I hope you consider how you see the world. And I wish you love and harmony and peace, because that's what we're going to create on this world, and we're going to do it by loving our enemies. Namaste.